and welcome to Davey's American Racing. Hey, it's 2025, a new season, new program, everything's new. It's good to be back on the air. I've got a couple of guests coming on. Hopefully, I can get them both on at the same time. One of them is Corbin Say. We've had him on for a couple times last year, and then a year before, I think we had him on too. He was just a little guy then. Now he's taller than I am. Well, we'll punch him up in a little bit. He's on there. I can see him, but he can't hear me right now. So we'll get him on there. I'll wave to him, see if he waves back. There you go. He's waving back. Plus, we'll have him on talking about his little bit about his go-kart career. Now, this year, he has jumped into a full 360 wing sprint car, and this kid cannot stop talking about it. I watched some of his videos from Ocean Speedway, and I think that's the first race. Just say yes or no in the sprint car. Just shake your head, yes or no. Yeah, it was. I was watching videos. The kid's very impressive in that sprint car. Of course, they had to go through. Well, we'll cover that in a little bit. Plus, I want to have Lyle Hopper back on. We had him on last year, and in January, I had him on. Reason why, with the West Coast Pro Stocks, a lot of rule changes that were added on this year. That's why I had him in January. I'm going to have him back on here in a few minutes. Reason why, we got a big race coming up May 10th, next month, a week from now or 2 weeks from now, up at Cedarville Raceway. Not one race, but we're going to have two races up there this year, up in Cedarville, California up there. They're getting the track ready right now. They've been working on it, prepping it, make sure all the PA systems, everything's working good, the lights, everything. And from what I heard, everything is A-OK so far. So again, we're back. Some of the racing here in California has started about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Of course, a lot of it got rained out last week and some of it this week, or over the weekend, I should say. But we did get some races in. And I got the finishes right here. Of course, I only go through the top 5 because if I don't, I'll be here all night listing them all. If you want the finishes, go to their home pages and find out where they're listed at. Or you can go to Race Receiver, or not Race Receiver, but hang on, I'll give you that name right now. I'll give it to you in a little bit here. It's not printing up, but I'll tell you where to go. After to get all the races. Plus, you can go on there live and watch them, not live, but be on listing live on their driver laps and green flag, yellow flag, white flag, whatever they are in. So you can go on that. Race Monitor, that's what it was, Race Monitor. You got to sign up for that. It's a monthly or yearly subscription, but it's not much. But it's worth it just to watch kids like Corbin Say in his brand new 360 sprint car. Again, we'll have him on in a little bit. Well, here are things in Fallon, Nevada. Have been going pretty good this year. I've been doing a lot of DJ for a lot of car shows lately. I did a couple of weddings as well. We got some more car shows coming up. We're coming up on May 4th, or a private school coming up, but it'll be May 4th. It's a Sunday, start right around 8 o'clock. About 1 o'clock, they'll have different trophies for different classes there as well. It'll be at the 3C building at the fairgrounds. So it's always good to have it there. And that's what the new C3 building is for. They used to have it at their school with a very small parking lot. All the cars that showed up were all like this talking, but now we got a big old parking lot. Plus, I've been doing a lot of it for Cars and Coffee here in Fallon, what it is once a month on a Saturday morning from about 8 o'clock, maybe to about 11 o'clock in the morning. It's just a big get together, having coffee, talking to friends with all their brand new cars out there. They're the oldest cars, newest cars, hot rods, you name it, custom rods. They're there just BSing. But this year, they're going to be doing it twice a year now, or twice a month. One will be at I'll get back to this in a second. I have to get all the names of them. Telegraph Coffee Shop. There it is. We'll be holding it there along with Jerry's right next to them. And getting aboard with it to his Aces Hardware right next to him. So that parking lot, we'll be doing that twice a month. So we want to thank them for allowing us to come out there for cars and coffee. And then let's see, got another Cedarville May 10th and July 19th for those two West Coast Pro Stocks. Again, Lyle will give you some more information. Hopefully, I can get him on here. I did send him an email. Been having problems. I don't know why I've been having problems last year, trying to straighten out a lot of them. Okay, okay. Up on May 16th, I'll be doing a DJ up here in Cold Springs, Nevada. It's about 45-minute drive east of here. It's their annual or monthly fish fry. So I'll be up there DJing that, and they got some good food there, good fish. So again, it'd be May 16th. And then we're going to go back to, I'll be doing a special at Applegate School, the one we're having the car show, on May 22nd. It's going to have all the students out there. It's just like a present what we've got here, what's working. The Sheriff's Department's going to be there. Fallon PD, I'm pretty sure the fire department, and then we're going to be there too with the Sheriff's Department. Search and Rescue will be there having some of our trucks on display and answering a lot of questions to them. Then coming up, May the 24th, it's time to go to California again for the Al Miller Memorial there at the Stockton Dirt Track. Tony Nassetti, when I had a bio on here about in January, he called to make sure I'm there. So I'll be there. This is good because you're going to be going upstairs and announcing some of the races. Okay, I'll be there. So got to make sure I go there. Of course, the West Coast Pro Stocks will be there for the Al Miller Memorial, and he'll be covering some of that too later on if we can get him on here. If not, we'll try it next week before we take off to Cedarville. And then coming up in June 7th and 8th, I'll be in Lovelock Saturday and Sunday for the big car show they have there every year. And I mean big. We got guys from Oregon, California, Utah, Idaho, Nevada, all kinds of cars coming for this big one here in Lovelock. And get out June 7th and 8th. I'll be getting out more information as we get closer to that time right there. And then June the 25th, I'll be doing a retirement for a good friend of mine. He worked for the county for, I forgot, but he's going to be retired, Jim. So hang on, Jim, your retirement party's coming on. That should cover it for a little bit until we get back into racing. In fact, let's go to what we're here for, racing. Start some coverage right here in Nevada. Summit Raceway up in Elko, Nevada, got their season kicked off over the weekend. They had Friday and Saturday. We're going to start out, well, I got to make apologies first here. They also run a lot of divisions for the go-karts. I do apologize. I didn't get all the go-karts listed on here. I would be on here forever. Again, you can go to their site and finish up on all their finishes. As well, again, we do apologize. Again, I only do the top 5 every division, or I'd be here all night with all the divisions. But again, I apologize. All right, Sports Compact, they had 9 cars, 20-lap main event on Friday. Jake Johnson out of Spring Creek picking up the main event. Madison Elvers second. Caden Teeter was third. Blake Black fourth, and Aberdeen Damon was fifth. Again, as the Sports Compact. All right, micros. They only had 5 micros show up in their 20-lap main event. Taylor McClendon Storm picking up the main event. Randy Hadlock was second. Third was Alexis Zeter. Fourth, Dean Lauer. And fifth, Roy Lauer. A lot of families up there racing up there at Summit. Dwarf cars, they had a good car count, 10 cars. Not bad for Nevada. Picking up the main event, Rick Rogers. Second was Master DeMore. Third, John DeMore, see, family. And fourth was Robert Duncan. Fifth was Brian Feeney. Hobby Sox only had 9 cars up there. Yancey, there he is, Shoop, picking up the main event. I gave him that nickname. Second was Nick Strickler. Strickler came out of Danville, California on Friday night to race up there. Long drive for Nick. Thomas Hanazuka I believe it is, out of Elko, finished third, and Braden Stepper was fourth, and then Tracy Mortimer was fifth. Modifieds only had 5 modifieds. Kyle Stanfield picking up the main event. Willie Hammond was second. Mark Benvenides was third. Fourth was Cody Calmer. And then fifth was David Carrera Jr. That was their Friday night show. Forward to Saturday night. Start off again with the Sport Complex. Let me rip this apart in case I have to do double duty here. All right. Sport Compact, new winner. Katie Teeter picking up the main event. Jake Johnson was second. Mac Vinson was third. Madison Allers was fourth. And Blake Black was fifth. All right, micros again with 5 cars. Alexa Zeter, she finished third on Friday, picking up the main event on Saturday night. Dean Lauer was second. He finished fourth on Friday. Third was Tyler McClendon Storm. He won the main event on Friday night. Fourth was Randy Hadlock. He finished second Friday, and then Roy Lauer fifth. Dwarf Cars, Rick Rogers picked up the main event Friday night and picked it up on Saturday night. Second was Matthew DeMore. Third, Brad Moody. William Finney. Hang on here. I got to check something out. Let me get rid of this. All right, let me finish this off, and I'll go to something else in a second here. All right, Hobby Stocks. 11 cars. Well, they picked up a couple cars on Saturday. Yeah, see, there he is. Shoot, picking up another main event. 2 for 2 over the weekend. Thomas, I apologize, and Azuka, I believe it is, finished second. Nick Strickler was third. Joe Conroy. Yeah, our Joe Conroy from the area around here was there on Saturday night. Finished fourth, and K.O. Claire fifth. Modified, they picked up one more car, 6 cars on their 25-lap main event. David Carrera Jr. picking up the main event, and he finished fifth on Friday night. So second, Willie Hammond. Third was Kyle Stanfield. Fourth, David Carrera. And then fifth was Mark Benavides. I hope I'm getting that right. All right, sprint. Well, Friday night, I forgot to mention, they only had one sprint car, Josh Rovera stuff. They only had one. That means he picked up the heat race and the main event. All right, Saturday night, they had 3 sprint cars. Our own Bob Macy right here out of Fallon was there and picked up the main event. And Josh Rivera was second. Third was Don Macy. So it's good to have Macy's out there racing. So, all right, that was it for Nevada so far. And let me stop there. Let me see who we got on here on the message. Alan Shafto, how you doing, buddy? Hope everything's going for you. I saw you got 25-year awards there at Walmart. You've been there for 25 years. Good job, buddy. And without an accident, I believe. I say, Tom Duncan Racing. Hey, Davey. Christy says hello. Give her a kiss for me, Tom. But close your eyes. Okay, Greg Knowles on her. Hey, Don, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, boy or Davey Boo. Ben Burke, how you doing? Let's see, Ellen Chapter back on. Let's go. Sean DeForest, number 72. Yeah, I got to catch one of these races. I haven't seen Sean probably in about 15, 20 years. Zoe Sandoval, my little favorite gal there out of Merced, California. How you doing? Did you get my message? I'll be in Stockton on May 24th for the Miller Memorial Race there. So get a hold of me. All right. Since she's in California, let's move over to California. Antioch Speedway ran their race on Saturday night. All right, Chris Durden, Hollister picking up the dwarf cars, 11 cars, 20-lap main event. Second was Sean Caliucci out of Brentwood. Third was Justin Bigman from Castroville. Fourth was David Hayes. And fifth, Travis Hayes. And they're all in the same area. All right, they had the Pacific Coast Hobby Stocks with 22 cars. Good car count for the Hobby Stocks there. 20-lap main event. Grayson Baca out of Brentwood picked up the main event. Charlie Bryant second. Larry McKenzie Jr. was third. Brody Gardner was fourth. And Jesse Palladino was fifth. Super Sox, they only had 5 cars there. That's low on their car count there for that class there. But our own out of Petaluma, longtime friend, Mike Learn picking up the main event. I do believe on Mike Learn, I forgot how many years this guy has been racing, but he has won a main event every year. That's quite a record to hold right there. I'll have to get complete. I read it the other day and I forgot to write it all down. So I'm going to have to get a hold of Mike and get that complete story on the main event wins every year. All right. Second was Randy Miramontes. Third was Fred Ryland. Fred's usually the main event winner. Must have had a low tire or something. Fifth was Kimo or Ita was fifth. Wingless sprints, 22 cars. Always did a good car count there with the wingless sprints. 25 lap main event. Jake Morgan picking up the main event. Josh Young second. Bob Newberry. Everybody know who's Bob is, the old 49er. Super Bowl 49er, Super Bowl champion. All right. Fourth was Brent Steck. Fifth was Eason Landfry. Fifth. Oh, that was fifth with Eason. Fast qualified was Sean Arriaga. There's a name that goes back in racing many, many years, especially with his mom. All right, 600 Michaels. They had only 6 cars. 15-lap main event. Peyton Gentry picking up the main event. Kyle Manchek. Second, third was Buddy Chapo. Fourth was Ryan Dodson. Fifth was Roberto Monroe. And it says next page. Okay. Finish this. I'm going to have to give a call to Lyle and see what's going on. All right, Lightning Sprints. These guys always put on a good show no matter where they're at. Okay, they had 9 in the 20-lap main event. Greg Dennett picking up the main event. Dakota Albright, my longtime friend there. He's been racing with these Lightning Sprints for many, many years. Third was Jason Shostag. Fourth, Joseph Erlitio, I believe it is. Sorry about that, Joseph. Fifth was Brady Schmidt. Okay, that was Antioch Speedway. All right, let's get on the road and head south to Watsonville, California. Next week, Corbin, your name should be on here. They're at Ocean Speedway. All right, let's go to their Ocean Sprints presented by Taco Bravo with 18 sprint cars qualified, 18 in the 30-lap main event. Dominic Garden picking up the main event. Dominic got it close, so he made a little bit of a drive. Well, it's not that far. Gage Garcia was second. Third was Tanner Carrick from Lincoln, California. A little bit of a drive. And fourth, Bud Kading from San Jose finished fourth. Fifth. And, I forgot fifth. Fast qualifier was Dominic Gordon, but I left out fifth place. I'm sorry. And picking up the 4-lap dash was Dominic Garden. Oh, man, I feel bad now. Left the fifth place finish out of there. Rusty McMillan, how you doing? When are we going racing? Just give me the word, buddy. I will be there with you. Just give me the word. Hey, Dwight. I know you don't like being called Dwight, but that's what I call you. How you doing? Hey, you know what? I got to make it there this year. One race or another. I will make it this year, so let everybody know. More than likely, let's go up to Meridian. And you guys pick a date, and I'll come out there. Rusty, yeah, anytime. Like I said, just let me know when you're racing. Okay, so we have the races this week. Yes, I know. I forgot to put that on the sheet. I'm sorry, Zoe. In fact, there's a lot of stuff I could not get on. Reason why, it was going to be a long program tonight, so I wanted to make sure I get Lyle and Corbin on here. Corbin's back there drinking beer. He's only 14 years old. No, he's not. Okay, my best friend won at Ocean. Who's your best friend, Zoe? Let me know. I'll probably say his name here in a second. All right, let's move over to the IMCA Sport Mods with 17 cars. Good car count for the Sport Mods. I got to call this gal up. I met her when she was a little kid. I've known her mom and dad for many, many years. I think it's from Churchill Speedway we met. Emily Van Hoff picking up the main event. Congratulations, Emily. Casey Keller second. Bo Cribbs third. Danny Wagner. I believe that's the same Danny out of the Dwarf Carts. Somebody let me know if that is him. I haven't seen him for a while either. Then Matthew Fraser out of Santa Maria, long toll for Matthew. So that's a good car count. And again, Emily, congratulations for picking up that main event win. Some good drivers in that class. Hang on, this is from Lyle. I got to call him up, so hang on here so we can get him on here. Yeah, recent. I don't have the. Oh, he can't even hear me. Okay, hang on here. I do apologize. Entertain yourselves. I can hear you. Okay, I don't see you on screen. Huh. Yeah, the only way I can read, I can't send it on Messenger. I don't know why, but it'll go through on email. Okay. Hang on here. Give me a call back in about 3 minutes. All right. All right. Sorry about that. I got to get Lyle on here. For some reason, he's not. It says he's supposed to be on here, but I don't see him. So I'm going to send him an email. Hang on here. And again, I do apologize. Wrong one. Okay. You email to okay. Send. Okay, I just sent him a new text, and hopefully he gets it because I definitely want him on here. But again, I do apologize for all this. I got to get a hold of StreamYard and find out what is going on because my regular high-dollar camera is not working as well. But I think I know what the problem is there, so I'll get that fixed by next weekend. And that is why I'm using this mic and not my regular headset because I forgot my regular headset. It's in my toy hauler with all the rest of my equipment. Okay, where did I leave off of? Okay, let's move over to the hobby stocks. My gal's weekend. I've known her parents for many, many, many years, but we probably go back to the 70s with her parents. But Lily Mead picking up the main event with the hobby stocks, 11 cars on the 20-lap main event. Joe Geller was second. Ryan Hart was third. Bobby Geller was third. Fourth. Fifth was Brody Mueller. Lily had her hands full with those other four drivers because they're all top. Any one of those guys could have won that main event that night, but Lily Mead picking up that main event. All right, Police and Pursuit. Now, this Police and Pursuit is probably something like our we have here in Nevada. Oh, hi, Lyle. I see Lyle finally made it on here. Bootlegger cars, but I've never really seen them run, so I'll just compare them to that. All right. They had 7 cars, 15-lap main event. John Hammond picking up. Now watch this. Picking up the main event. Scotts Valley Police Department. So the police guys, officers are racing in this class. Second was Kyle Womack out of Santa Cruz. There was Kevin Elliott. There was Jeff Neff. Fifth was A.J. Waltrip. Check out the name, A.J. Waltrip. But he's out of the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office as well. So congratulations to our first responders for coming out there, police department, and the Sheriff's County in the police and pursuit. All right, South Bay Dwarf Cars. Just separate because we got 2 pages there. They had 13 dwarf cars, 20-lap main event. Chris Durden picking up the main event. Pete Pineda, second. Mark Vescardi was third, another name I've known for many, many years. Justin Bigman, fourth, and Travis Day was fifth. All right, next page. So I don't lose where I'm at. That's what it says on the bottom. WMR Midgets. This is a series they started about 4 years ago. Okay, Logan Mitchell picking up the main event. 7 cars with a 20-lap main event. Again, Logan Mitchell picking up the main event. Terry Nichols, second. Anthony Bruno was third. Nathan Moore was fourth. And Adam Westberg was fifth. All right. That's it for Ocean Speedway. So let's get on the highway, head over to off the pass, get on to 101, and head on down to Santa Maria, California, Santa Maria Speedway. Big changes on the racetrack there. If you haven't been there for a while, make sure you make the trip there. It's like they overhauled the place, which it needed for many, many years. But it's still going. They were going to shut it down. The city was going to shut it down, the county, everybody, but they decided to keep going. So thank you, Santa Maria, for allowing races to continue there. All right, Hobby Sox, they had 10 cars in the 20-lap main event. Skyler, I'm going to spell this out, Chairez. Pick up the minute. Dakota Brown out of the Chowchilla area was second. Lance Hurst, another Merced, one of those two, knowing his mom and dad since the Chowchilla days. Tom Stevens was fourth, and Aaron Bruce was fifth. I met Lance when he was 3 or 4 years old. A big kid. He's a big kid now. If you've seen his dad, you know why. All right, IMCA Northern Sport Mods. Danny Wagner picking up the main event. Chap Weber was second. Dylan Melvey was third. Fourth was Aaron Messina. Fifth was Willie Oathot. All right, IMCA Modifieds with 12 cars in the 25 main event. Cody Burke, another one out of that Central Valley there around Chowchilla area, but I think he moved. All right, was main event winner. I'm going to spell this one out. Slauka. Second, Robert Marsh was third. Doug Hagel, another long-time name in racing, was fourth. Fifth was Mike. So I'm going to try to give this the one I just spelled. It says Luca. Luco. I hope I got that right. All right, Mini-Stock, 10 cars, 20-lap main event. Justin Jackson picking up the main event. Gary Rayburn Jr. was second. Bob Diaz was third. Levi Burgett was fourth. And Matt Reith was fifth. Pro Stocks only had 8 cars there with their 25-lap main event. Timothy Randolph. Second was Bob Gilbertson. Third was Frank Nybeck. Fourth was Dustin Harrington. Fifth was Paul Mueller. All right, that covers the racing in California, which went on over the weekend. Again, some of the tracks were rained out. Just a couple more here I want to get on here. Racing this weekend up in Chico, California at Silver Dollar Speedway. No car racing this weekend, but they do have the Progressive American Flat Track event May 3rd. So flat track racing there on Friday night. It's one of these races you don't want to miss. These guys are all over, up and down California, and wherever they go, they get a good turnout of riders. I was going to say racers, but they call them riders. So make sure you get your trip up there to Silver Dollar if you get a chance this Friday night. Go on their website and get all the information. Also, racing this weekend. Another race you don't want to miss is Placerville Speedway there in Placerville, California. They got a great doubleheader going on Friday and Saturday with the Wing 360 Sprints Unlimited Sprint Car Series and the Legends Weekend. What they mean by the Legends, some of the cars from the 60s and 70s and maybe the 80s, the old super modifieds will be there. The ones that ran Kearney Bowl, Madera Speedway, San Jose, Clovis, back in the old days. They will be there. And tell you something, you haven't seen some of these cars. Some of them are some of the original cars. Some they completely made up again, but they're worth a lot of money. It'll be a good weekend to get up there. All right, Friday night, they're going to be paying $5,000 for the 360 main event, and then Saturday night, $8,000 to win. Also, sharing the stage that night would be the USAC non-wing sprint cars as well. So more information, you can go to their website. All right, let's go to the asphalt. Madera, California. I miss my home track. Kenny Shepard, you know I miss you, buddy. I was with him for 6 years as his track announcer at both his racetracks. All right, Saturday, May 3rd, another MAV TV series presented by Allied Storage and Containers. Race number 3 for the Pro Late Models. 80 laps of great racing presented by Mission. If you don't know who Mission is, all your potato chip Mission, tortilla Mission, they are sponsoring, been a long-time sponsor of Madera Speedway. And round number 3 for the 5150 Junior Late Model Series, 70 lap, also presented by Mission. And the Bangaleros will be there, and the Legend Series also will be there. So I've got 2 different Legend Series will be there. You got dirt and asphalt cars. All right. Oh, what is this getting? Farmhouse style console table build. Directions. It's for me. I started my remodeled my shop to go back to DIY woodbuilding. So it's almost done. Already got a lot of stuff being ordered from customers. All right. All right, we got to Rusty, my best friend. Okay, Zoe, you never told me who your best friend was. I'll probably mention his name in a few minutes. All right, I'm going to bring 2 special guests on there. First, we're going to talk to Corbin, and I'm going to have them both on with Lyle. So let's see. I've never done it this way. Put on stage, add the stage. Hey, there they are on the top right. Corbin, say, what you doing, buddy?
Doing good.
Yeah, we'll talk to you first. Of course, Lyle down there. You owe that guy big time.
I do.
But you know what he'll tell you? Don't even say a word. He won't even say it. He knows what he's doing for you, buddy. All right, let's talk to you, bud. You ready? Oh, you know what? I forgot to tell everybody. We are sponsored tonight. Uh-oh, it went away. Where'd it go? Oh, man. Hang on here. Hang on here. I want to make sure I get this right. Your mom will kill me if I don't. All right, we're sponsored tonight, as you can tell, I got the hat on, by Mama's Meat Company right here in Fallon, Nevada. You want frozen or non-frozen? The best meat, I'll guarantee you. I eat or buy the meat there all the time. I used to go to Safeway. Nothing against Safeway, but her meat just tastes a lot better. Let me tell you right there. She's located at 250 South Main Street right there in Fallon, Nevada. So if you're ever here going through town or you live here in town, make sure you go to Mama's Meat Company. All right. Is your mom there yet?
She is. She is here.
Okay. At least she heard that. All right. We had you on first time. I think you were what, about 8, 9 years old?
Yeah.
Somewhere back in there where we had you at the grid. No, the first time you were here at the house. Then we had you on at the grid, and now we're going to have you on again. I was going to have you on last year, but you chickened out. I don't want to go. I'm scared. Yeah, that's okay, buddy. Just playing with you. All right. How many years did you run with the go-kart, the outlaw go-karts?
Like 8, I'm pretty sure.
8 years,
yeah.
Come out to be one of the top drivers.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Different divisions that you were in. And even as a young kid, you made quite a bit of money.
Yeah. I won like a couple memorials and all that, like $500 here and there, and and a championship. So it was really cool.
Yeah, for a young kid, and that's a lot of money for a young kid racing.
Yeah, and I raced Mulbridge this past summer, and that track you could just keep it wide open; it would just stick to the top. It was
Yeah,
really fun.
I was
It's
watching
one of
one of you.
it was
I
one
watch
of
all
the
your
best
videos.
tracks.
Yeah, I watch all your videos. I'm impressed from Ocean Speedway. We'll get to that in a second. All right, big change for you this year, right?
Yeah,
Jumped
it,
into 360 wing sprint car, buddy. That's awesome.
it
How,
thank
how
you.
many years have you been wanting to do that?
Uh, since I was like 3.
Who's your favorite sprint car driver?
Probably have to say Tanner Holmes.
Tanner Holmes? Yeah, good driver. I thought you were going to say something like Kyle Larson or something. Yeah, but Tanner Holmes is a good driver, a good pilot. All right. When's your next race?
This weekend.
This weekend. Where's it at?
Ocean Speedway.
Ocean Speedway, back up there. And that's where you were, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And that was your first race in the sprint car.
Second race in the sprint
Second
car.
race. Okay. See, you lied to me, buddy. Not just kidding. All right. Watch your videos. You look very impressive. But let me jump back a little. The man right below us out there, big part of the reason you're racing today. So again, like I said, thank him. And some other letters that were sent into Ocean. How old are you now?
I am 14.
14 years old. A lot of racetrack will not allow a 14-year-old driver, especially in a sprint car, to race. But you proved everybody wrong. You can handle that car. I was watching the videos. For your second race, that was awesome, buddy. You were like a half a second to a second off of some of the leaders, even in qualifying. So I'm very, very impressed. And it's just you and your dad going out there right now with that sprint car, right? And mom.
Yeah.
I think it could improve if we could find somebody good to help you out there on Friday nights there at Ocean.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, huh? Well, wish you luck. I want to get live on it because, unlike you, I know you don't like to talk. So, real quick, give us a list of your sponsors.
Mama Stew Company, Reno Michael Power Sports, Morgan Construction, and Artistic Fence, and Glenn and Jensen Construction, and Sheldon's Pest Control.
There you go. Got quite a good sponsor there, especially Michael. Michael's been one of your Power Sports sponsors for many, many years.
I think about like 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah.
I heard through the grapevine they're going to probably have 2 races up in Reno this year.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to have like 2 races up there.
Did you jump back in a go-kart for that?
And yeah.
Just say yes or no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I so. That's okay. You got a lot of guys running sprint cars, jumping into go-karts, especially that race there because it's a big race.
Yeah.
All right, Carver. I want to say you can stay on if you want. All right, because I want to definitely get to Lyle Hopper from the West Coast Pro Sox. Lyle, welcome back.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. We can see you.
Oh, that's good.
Hang on for a second here. Hey, now everybody can see you better. I can see you better. I enlarged the screen. I don't know if you can see it on your end, but I enlarged it so I can see everybody. All right, we had you on last year. We had a lot of people tune in. We had you on in January. Again, and a lot of people tuned in on that because you had a lot of update rules for 2025. You're back on here tonight. Let's start with some of the new rules you got for the West Coast Pro Stocks.
All right. So first off, thank you for having me. Second off, hello to the young man there.
That's
so
you, Corbin.
we're going to see about putting this guy in a pro stock somewhere through the course of the year to get him more seat time.
Whoa, Corbin.
So that's coming at you once we get our schedules a little better coordinated.
That'd be cool.
All right. So what we've got going on is the first thing that you talked about, Cedarville, May 10th. We've been working on the track. We've been working on a lot of things there. It is a West Coast Pro Stocks point race. You were going over the Santa Maria thing from this past weekend. We had to cancel our portion of that show. So they ran it as a local pro stock point show with their regular payout because we had too many guys out of the Nevada, Northern California area. And sure enough, Donner got closed on top of everything else. So Dave there was kind enough to agree to that on Friday. And we will be racing in Santa Maria somewhere in August. We've looked at 2 dates. He's going to finalize it. So we will still be racing at Santa Maria this year. So that particular one, yeah, the situation there, I'm astounded they got that race in. That was a ton of work on Pat and David's and his crew's work to get that even in. And there goes that. So Cedarville, it is a West Coast Pro Stocks race. I have waived the normal pre-race. You've got to run one race before you can get paid tow money. So any of the SoCal guys that are going to come up, I know the Smiths are coming. They're getting tow money. Anybody else that's involved that wants to come and run Cedarville, get a hold of me. Instant message, text, website, courier pigeon will get you on the list and get you handled. So this is going to be a one-day show. We are doing a lot of work reconfiguring the track and trying to fix the problems from last year. We have a game plan so that the July 19th return date there, we're going to have not only the pro stocks and the hobby stocks, we're also going to have the vintage wing sprint car super modified group, not the legends of Kearney Bowl, but the ones that actually race for real. And we might even invite a sprint car or two to show up with us.
Corbin. Corbin.
We'll see how that goes. That particular race is going to be probably 2,000 to win instead of our normal 1,000. But we have a lot of people signed up for the July race. But right now we need to get through the May one. That's our next event. Then following up that event on the May 24th is the Al Miller Memorial. So the announcements I got on that one is Tony and I had a long conversation this morning. Tony decided to step up the game. I called a couple of sponsors. So I'm going to announce right here and now that the current purse, which may still go up for the Al Miller Memorial one-day show, is $24,525.
Whoa.
That's more than a 410 show. We are going to be paying $1,500 to win for the pro stocks, $2,000 to win for the A mods, $1,250 for the sport mods, and $1,000 for hobbies. So if Sean, you're still on there, you're racing for $2,000, buddy. We're going to pay $150 to start in all divisions, and it pays down. Like second place of the A mods is $1,000, second place in the pro stocks $700, second place in the sport mods is $600. So we're going to pay down the field as well. And if we can get some additional sponsors, we'll actually fill in the backside of the field. This particular race for West Coast Pro Stocks is not a tow money race unless you're coming out of Nevada or Oregon. All the California cars, no tow money for the Miller. I understand there's a lot of angst because it's a conflict race with the IMCA clash. Unfortunately, there was no communication and we could not resolve it. And we would love to have been part of the clash. And that way there wouldn't be any A or B. But my suggestion is if you're not in the top 2 in points after Santa Maria and Bakersfield, you might want to consider Stockton because we're putting up a fair amount of money. So that's that. Third big announcement, Mr. Schweitzer has been in touch. The West Coast Pro Stocks will be the Pro Stock division at the Bud Nationals this year, October 9th and 10th. Purses will be determined once I get my sponsorship package together, but Scott has invited us to come there. So we'll be back to Santa Maria for a first race later on in August. In October, we're going to be at the Bud Nationals for 2 days as a points race. So we've got that going on. One of the things about the Al Miller race, a lot of people have asked me about, there is no entry fee. You just pay your normal back gate fee per guy, and that's it. We're not charging for the car. We're not charging for any of that. This is one of those, we're working with the numbers that we're going to get out of the back gate and our sponsors to keep it cheaper for the racers. No back gate fee, which also rolls into, we have we'll have 4 more A-Mod hobby stock, sport mod pro stock shows at Stockton, which includes the Miller, and 5 pro stock shows, including the Miller. All of those shows, the A-Mods are going to be 1,000 to win, as well as the pro stocks. So you might want to look on the Stockton dirt track, and we are running with SCCT in November. Corbin is where I'm thinking maybe double duty might fall in place. Run your sprinter, run a pro stock. They both have 700 horsepower. So we'll start looking at that. So those are the everything that I had down there. Mainly was the payout, because Tony put another 5,000 up, and then we had some good sponsors like Brand Creative came in today, and we have a couple others that are still we're getting in contact with, and if they follow through, then we'll probably increase the start money for all 4 divisions at the Miller as well. So the Miller is now a $24,525 purse, courtesy of Tony, myself, and people like Justin Crockett and Bill Hall and other associated sponsors. So we're trying to make the Miller a big deal. This is why next year we're hoping to make it a 2-day show. Hopefully we'll be able to coordinate with the other tracks. I see that Susanville, Leaf has taken over Susanville, and he was nice enough that his race in July, he's going to run after we run. We're not going to compete for cars. He's going to run. We're running Cedarville on Saturday. Leaf is going to run on Sunday, I believe it is. That's the kind of thing that we're trying to work with some of these tracks, so that next year we don't have all this stepping on each other's toes.
Yeah.
Including the Sprint Car 360 series. We had a problem earlier this year where Tony and I stepped on Marysville's toes unintentionally, but we don't want to do that anymore, so that we can start having some crossover. There are a few other 360 Sprint Car guys that have reached out about maybe getting into our shows now that they're seeing the purses we're putting up. So, Kyle Larson can run a stock car. Why can't Corbin?
There you go, Corbin.
True.
Of course,
I'd like to drive one, though.
Your mom's going to have to fork out a whole lot of bacon to make that happen.
My mom said she could probably do that.
If it's the same bacon's out of California, believe it or not.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will be.
That's kind of what we've got going on. We've got the Cedarville race coming up. We're pretty excited about that one, because we're working to improve the facility. They had a pretty decent race there last year, but there was some track surface issues. We're trying to eliminate as much of that as we can. We're also upgrading the facility. Not a lot of it's going to get done. The scoring loop we put in February in the snow is a problem, so we're working on that. But I've been in contact with the people I've hired, including you. Davey's doing our announcing, and I've been talking to Gina and Tom, and we'll make that happen. And the main thing is the purse, for the Miller has just jumped dramatically in the last week. I wasn't going to get into this until after Cedarville, but Tony being Tony, he's like, let's make it happen now. Okay, boss.
Yeah.
Okay, boss. So this partnership with Tony has turned out to be mutually beneficial, and I think we're going to be able to help West Coast Racing next year.
Yeah. If Tony says something, it's one of those, yeah, we're listening.
Yeah. Well, Tony and I are doing everything off a handshake, pretty much, which, if you know, those people that know me, they know I generally want contracts. I want information, but Tony and I are kind of old. We're a couple of the old school guys.
I got to stop you right here. Some of these questions are coming up. First of all, Connor Tatum, could I get those dates again for the hobby stocks and the A-Mods? Connor, what track is that at he was talking about? Let me know, and I'll put another one on here.
You can go to.
Hey, I got to put this one on here, Lyle.
Yeah. You can for the Stockton dates for hobby stocks, you can go to the Stockton Dirt Track website. The dates are already on there. The
Okay.
rules are actually on my website, westcoastprostocks.com, for how the hobby stocks are going to run. Good question about the hobby stocks. The rules that are on there are intended to be where we're going to go with this division, between Stockton, Cedarville, and hopefully some other tracks will join in, kind of how a bunch of tracks jumped on the tri-state bandwagon as we consolidated the rules from being wide open to a little more cost effective and a little easier to police. I'm doing the same thing with this hobby stock deal. We've got people in Fallon that are running certain things. We got people in Marysville, certain things, Chico, certain things. So the rules are, the important things are going to be there. The 4412 has got to be correct. The tires have got to be correct. The weight has got to be correct. But if, like Susanville, Jeff allowed those guys to go to a 7.25-inch clutch, great. We're putting weight on the car. Headers, we're putting weight on the car. We want everybody to run that possibly wants to run, and we'll make a lot of allowances and slowly close the rules in over the next year so that next year everybody's on the same page. But we found it pretty effective. We had that race in February at Stockton, and we had 3 different cars, 3 different styles of cars from different tracks, Fallon and Chico, and the winner was a Marysville car, right? And he has the least amount of speed equipment per rules as anybody else, and he won. So we think that the weight thing works pretty well to let this go. So when you go to read the rules on the West Coast Pro Stocks webpage, bear in mind, if you have some issue, if your car is way off on something, give me a call or email me or text me or courier pigeon. I will make an accommodation as long as you're not trying to run a dry sump aluminum motor. So other than that, we are trying to make it inclusive so that you don't have to spend a lot of money this year and you can get in and run some races. Next year, we're hoping, if we can get the support, we're going to run a much fuller schedule at Stockton Dirt Track. That's kind of the obligation and I've given to the promise I've given to Tony, so that we can get this to move forward and get things better. What's up, Mark Garner? Nothing, dude. Nothing's going on at all. We got nothing to do. I'm just sitting back drinking beer.
Stephen, right?
Yeah, Stephen Oswald. Yeah. Well, that's why I shouted out to Sean Nastat earlier. I saw he was on while I was on the in the back room door thing of the StreamYard. I was like, Sean has already promised to be coming to the Miller race, and he's bringing several cars. And that's the kind of thing where we want to try and do our best to make sure these guys have a great event like we did in February, and continuously like that. You're going to have your bad nights, but we're trying to cap that. And so we know that we're running against the Clash this year. Shouldn't have happened that way, but it is. And so we're going forward with our program, and that's what we're doing. So that's been a big question to me quite a bit, is why? It's like, we did this first. We let the information out. Then somebody decided to do their own thing without contacting us. It is what it is. We're not going to move it to a Monday race. So exactly. So if they think that's a viable deal, they can move theirs there, and we'll be more than happy to be part of the Clash. We'll put up the same big money and be part of it. But at this point, we are, the good news for IMCA guys is, if you do not want to follow the Clash and you come see us on Saturday at Stockton, we are not an IMCA points sanctioned race this year. So you can jump from car to car to car to car. I have one guy that's going to be in a hobby stock, a pro stock, and a sport mod. So, Davey, you'll get his information when he shows up. So that's kind of what's going on there. Next year, there will be more coordination, I believe, between several of the Northern California promoters for the 360 sprint cars. So that will make it a little easier for those guys in Nevada to be able to attend sprint car races without having to travel 10 hours to get to a track.
Well, I'm going to start calling, especially Bob Macy here locally. He's got the wheels to call everybody and let them know, so I'll get a hold of him here. He's one of our sprint car drivers here.
Yeah.
And Corbin, you better start talking too, buddy.
Yeah, what are you doing? Sitting there in the garage with the bike?
I'm just listening to you guys.
You're going to have to learn to talk, young man. You're going to be having to look for sponsors. People like me, Davey, don't grow on trees.
I know.
Well, my
He's
question,
come a long way, Larry. He's come a long, long way.
yeah, I know. My question is, are the bikes hanging upside down from the ceiling, or are you hanging from the ceiling and the bikes are on the ground?
The bikes are hanging from the ceiling.
All right, just checking in with you, young man.
Sometimes we hit our heads on them. Sometimes we.
That's what's wrong with you. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, Corbin, it's a sprint car there in the garage.
Yeah.
Turn your camera around real quick. There it is. Dad's working on it right now. And like I said, it's just Corbin, his dad, and his mom working on the car right now. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on to what you got here, Lau.
Really, that's about it. Those are the main things. We are going to be the Bud Nationals. We have a $25,000, $1,500 Pro Stock, $2,000 A Mod, $1,250 Sport Mod, and $1,000 Hobby Stock Al Miller Memorial. We are still working with some other sponsors and trying to get a little bit more money into that purse. And if it changes, this will probably go up on social media, I'd say no later than Friday with the full payout. But again, like I said, you know, the way I've penciled it out here, the second place in the A mods is $1,000. Second place in the Sport mods, $600. So it's a full purse and then some. But this is on the backs of Tony Nassetti and our group of sponsors.
I see that race turning maybe into a 2-day program.
Well, it's been discussed. I won't say anything more than that because Tony will slap
That's
me.
just my personal thing. No, I can leave it there. I kind of saw that while we've been talking about it.
Yeah, I get out over my skis too far on that one, and he may just smack me upside the head with a Michelob Light.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's just we're excited that we went from a 19.7 purse to a 24.5 purse in 24 hours. So
you don't see that much in California anymore, those big purses like that. Well, that's the big 410 sprint car show or something like that.
Well, and the problem is that you can throw a lot of money at this and nobody shows up. What we're trying to do is not only throw money at the top end carrot, but we're trying to put some money in the middle to the bottom. We're trying to provide a fair racing group. So for the Fender shows that I'm in charge of, the Pro Stocks, A Mods, Sport Mods, and Hobby Stocks, the A Mods and Sport Mods are pretty straightforward because we're just going to follow that unnamed association out of the Midwest that I don't want to give their initials because then I get a nasty letter from them. We can follow their rules, and that's pretty straightforward because everybody in California runs underneath them. The Hobby Stocks, there are 27 different freaking rules. And I got to applaud Bartlett and Cooper for what they did last year to try and pull that together. It's just a crazy.
That's tough to do.
Well, we're gonna do it the hard way. We're gonna do weights for now, and then next year we'll close up a little bit, and then the year after that we'll close up because we want those guys to use up that racing equipment. But then when they buy new stuff, they buy stuff that's going to be legal for the next few years and get out of that. You know, some of this stuff is a little silly. If you think that a Ford lower control arm on your Camaro clip is going to make you any faster at a dirt track, you're out of your mind. But okay, you know, asphalt track, yeah, there is actually an advantage to having that 1.25 inch longer control arm. Dirt track, there's so many things you can work on and adjust to get around it. You know, we don't have wing sliders and all these other things that you might have on a sprint car, but they don't have all of the shock, radius rod angles and things that we have. They do have a bigger stagger selection between dry, slick, and not, but we have a lot of other stuff. So you don't have to have these things, but you know, if they're already on your car, we don't want to penalize you too heavily for that. We want to just let it run. Like I said, Cooper did an excellent job in a Marysville legal car and won in February at Stockton. And that gives you all you need to know. The guys there were guys that were running big inch motors. There were guys that were running some equipment that was marginal for a hobby stock. It was closer to a super street stock or the old, you know, street stock division that used to run the NASCAR group, where it was a pretty heavy, you know, they were 500 horsepower motors on, but they were on a Cobra dirt tire. So what we're trying to do is be inclusive, but again, we will have to draw a line if it's too far over the edge. So if you need to get hold of me, you can do a chat on westcoastprostocks.com. I'm on social media, both under 3 places. You can find me on Lyle Hopper. You can find me on Winning Attitude Motorsports and West Coast Pro Stocks. Shoot me an IM, shoot me in text, whatever, with your questions. And if I can't answer them right there, I will call you and we can go over it. I just did that with 3 Nevada guys a couple of nights ago. They thought they weren't going to be able to race, and it was like we worked that out pretty quickly.
Do you know who were they?
Huh?
Do you remember?
Oh, I'm not naming them. I don't want to get
okay.
I don't want to get into it.
Okay.
So again, I'm hopeful for the May 10th race to have a decent car count. I was really not expecting much, but it's going up. The July race is looking really good. The Outlaw Pro Stocks, it is now a combo race. They're running it for themselves, and so it's a race within a race. I will be at that race. I'll be offering $500 to the highest finishing asphalt takeoff tread tired car. So the only one in our area from the tri-state or West Coast that runs those, I think, is Brent Lawrence at this point. But Scotty and those guys, they run them. So whoever finishes the highest will get at least $500 for their effort if they don't win more than $500. So
now, when I'm up in the tower, do you know if I can get fast time with my microphone? Because I could outrun any car on that racetrack with my microphone.
We'll give you a $50 lap award if you can pull that off. How's that? Of course,
I'll give you.
If you don't, then
I'll give you some bacon
back from you. What Gordon said?
All right. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
What do you say? I missed what you said, young man.
Gordon, what'd you say?
Oh, I'll give.
You'll have to say it again. You're breaking up.
I'll give you some bacon if you do that.
I
love that bacon.
You got it. Yeah, actually, I from the Stockton show in February, a couple of the people that won texted me later on and went, "Hey, that stuff's really good. Where do you get it?" So I forwarded the information. So some guys were kind of making a joke about it with their crew. And after they fired up the grill or they took it home and cooked it up, they were like, "Hey, how did I get more of that stuff?"
Ask your mom if I got to tell you the name of the company. Ask her if I can say the name of the company.
Here. Sorry, it's a Sunny Valley Bacon, so it's just from your area. But unfortunately, back in the day, they used to sponsor that. And, Chance Grasty is a good friend of ours. And they were making a joke about when they were little, Chance and them would be sitting up in the stands. And all they talked about when Chance was little, 6 years old, was winning that bacon. Guess what? That night, they won the bacon.
There you go.
Sunnyside, anyhow, they have good meat. And that bacon is awesome.
Yeah. No, so that's all I've got. I mean,
no kidding. We've only been on for an hour, and you only been on for a half hour. Man, this got to be a record for least amount of time you've been on here.
Yeah, you and I sitting down together is usually worth an hour and 20 minutes. But
at least that. But we'll do that down the road here. We'll go back to the yesteryears, like Steve Osborne back there. Maybe we can get him on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have him on here.
So you're going to Ocean this Friday?
Yeah.
Perfect. I unfortunately won't be able to make it down there, but maybe one of these later on in the year when my schedule lightens up, I'll get down to Ocean with you guys if you don't run something up this direction.
Yeah, same here, Corbin. I want to make it down there. I haven't been there since when did I have my first cancer in 99? That was the last time I was at Ocean Speedway back in 99, and my cancer hit and I had to quit.
Oh man, last year we flew back from East Coast visiting and flew back on Thursday. I went to Ocean on Friday, and then I flew out to Arkansas on Saturday for my sister's funeral. So I usually make one race. Usually it's the Pettit at Ocean pretty much every year. So the Pettit is something that's near and dear to the heart, and you got great racing there. I mean,
yeah, he's always invited me, but I've always been busy that weekend. But I'm not announcing that much anymore this year. And I'm going to go ahead and let it out. This may be my last year. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see what happens towards the end of the year. But he's always invited me up there, and I've never been able to make his race. So this year, I'm going to try to make his race.
Well, no, now you're screwed. Because if Cedarville renews for next year, then I need you for 2 races there anyway. So you're not retiring. You may slow down.
Okay, I'll come out of retirement like I did, 10 years ago when I made that big speech that lasted 2 hours, my retirement.
Well, and that's just it. When I was his age, I'd run an 11.7. Now I run about a 19.5. So, you slow down. The motors are faster, the suspension's better, and the wings are less drag, and I'm slower. But that's just age.
In fact, when I made that speech, you're one of the first ones. You're not going to retire. You're not going to retire.
Oh, I got on that right away. You're not retiring. Trust me.
That lasted two hours, I think it was. Until John Gun came up to me.
That was speaking of retirement. That was the other thing. Robert Miller is actually going to drive my pro stock at the Miller race this year. He's coming out of retirement to run the Miller. So he's running the pro stock, and Randy is going to be running the hobby stock.
I talked to him last week. I went up to Carson, one of his karaoke nights at the casinos up there. I'm going to be 75. But when I walked in, I felt young.
There you go.
All the karaoke singers were.
Oh, yeah. He's got a group, man. He's got a
group.
They
were having a good time. But I talked to him about Cedarville because I don't know about Cedarville yet. So.
Yeah. Well, I've actually, that's one thing that would interest you. I don't know if it'll interest the audience, but my cousin, Bill Hopper, is bringing his vintage super modified to the 10th just to do some exhibition laps. But he's going to be driving my pro stock for that race.
Yeah.
I
haven't seen Bill in I don't know how many years.
Yeah, I don't think he's been in a fendered car since Fernley in the 90s. He's been running all mostly non-wing sprint car and sometimes 360. And the fire burned down his 360 to the ground here in Purda. It melted the heads. It melted all of the torque tube. It melted everything.
Yeah.
And those chromoly sprint car cages, you anneal them like that, they're junk. He got nothing. Everything in that car burned to the ground. But Bill will be driving for us there, and we got Mark Garner scheduled to get in the car here to the course of the season, and Justin Crockett's going to be getting in the car, and a few others as far as my personal car. But I'm thinking in November-ish, young man, might be a good time to stick you in the seat of one of these things. They're quite a bit different to drive, but the good news is Leaf cars tend to handle closer to a sprint car than a coil car. So it won't be that hard of a transition for you.
Yeah. So, when I was at Stockton, it was actually a really fun track to race at though. But you only had to be on half throttle the whole time because it would just spin the tires the whole time.
Right.
When you're on the gas. But it was really fun. Like I enjoyed racing the track.
Yeah.
Like at Ocean Speedway too, there's a bump on 1 and 2 that always messed me up. So I just went higher and then,
yeah. Well, you'll find through the course of the year that Stockton's surface is going to continue to get better. It's quite a bit better than it was when he first cut that quarter-mile track in there. Alan Pageant's been working on that surface, and Alan's one of the best West Coast guys. I'll tell you that right now. So
the track was really fun. So,
well, you did fine. I mean, the fuel system problems really hampered you.
Yeah.
But the heat race, when the motor would actually run, you figured out the wet rut in the middle of 3 and 4 to get below it or get above it, and you did a fine job there. That's why I signed off on you.
Yeah.
Lyle, I see this kid right here, maybe another Buddy Kofoid.
Well, if he gets to that deal, just don't forget the little people that helped you along the way.
Yeah.
No.
Well, one of the prettiest drivers we're going to have up in Cedarville is on here tonight. Danica's on here. She'll be up here racing.
She's coming?
Yeah.
Nice. Like it.
Yeah, I just got all her information. In fact, Mark Gardner, if I text you, I'm not sure if I got anything back from you. I need your information, sponsors, the card number, everything I need. Little background racing history as well, please. I'm getting some coming in on email and through Messenger. So that little post I put up there, it's working. So and then you reposted. I want to thank you for that. So that's helping. You know Ken Newberry?
The Newberries?
Yeah, Ken.
The Ann Berries, or are they somewhere else?
Ken, you might have to answer that. We just lost Lyle Harper. Oh no.
That sucks.
He was that what he had to say anyhow. But how you doing, Ken Newberry? Also forgot to say I was also sponsored by Lifesavers tonight. I got some of those from a car show the other day, and I've been eating them ever since. But I like those. Even when I was a kid, I liked them. But again, Corbin, I want to thank you for coming on and say, give Mom and Dad a big hug for what they're doing for you, buddy, and never stop that. Oh, I forgot your sister's. She helps out too down there, doesn't she?
Yeah. Oh, I was about to say thank you to Lyle though, but he disconnected, so yeah, that's kind of a bummer.
You know, it's like I said, if you thank him, he's the type of guy says, not gonna say a word, just I'll do what I can for you, and that's it. He's that type of guy.
And I have another shout out to Cohen Shaw too, because he helped me out a lot when I was at Stockton too. Okay. So
yeah. Anybody else?
And my mom and dad.
I gotta mention your sister.
And my sister too.
Yeah. She's gonna get bigger.
The car.
She'll take you on later on.
Yeah, true. But thank you, Davey.
All right,
for having me on.
Yeah, we'll catch you up there, either Stockton, maybe, or
Ocean Speedway this weekend. So
I want to say Ocean. I go to Stockton all the time, but like I said, I haven't been there since '99 when I was announcing there. So that's a long time ago. When they signed me off is because I was trying to avoid the bump on 1 and 2, and they're like, and when I was entering in, they're like, oh my God, I was doing really good on the entry and exit, so that's the reason why they signed me off on that one. Okay, hang on there for Carmen. I'm gonna keep you on for a little bit, but I gotta go to Top Gun Track Strip. We open up this month of May. Of course, a lot of you know I am the track announcer out there, so I got to make sure I get this, or my boss will kick my butt. We're going to be open up May 2nd through the 3rd. On that week, and Friday, we'll have a test and tune on Friday night, and a practice event and a jackpot racing on Friday night. Saturday, round number 1 with our Summit Series. Racing will start at 8:30 in the morning and go into about maybe 5. Come back on Sunday for this round number 2. Then on Saturday night, after round number 1, everything's all done, track's all cleared out and everything, we'll have our 24 awards potluck after the race. What that is, we give our last year's champions all their trophies and whatever else they're going to be getting, jackets or whatever. We used to do this in Fernley at one of the buildings there. I forgot who it was, Lions or somebody there or something like that. But we decided to do this at the track, and we had a bigger turnout. Since they're there, they bring all the food, and so it worked out a lot better. We've been doing that. This starts the 3rd year at Top Gun doing that. Again, May 4th, round number 2. Then I got some more coming up in June. Big races there in our Division 7 Pacific Division National Open in June, and I'll come up with more information. That's one race you do not want to miss. So I'm going to leave it right there. Again, we come up in May. Let's see. All right, let's get back over here. There, now I can see you. Anybody else I miss on here? Hang on for a second. Connor, Mark, Steve. Hey, Jared, I didn't even see you on there. Flower, how you doing? What is the start money on the hobby stock and pro stock for Cedarville on May 10th? Jared, if you can get a hold of Lyle through any of his pages down there, either on Facebook, get a hold of him. I can tell you one thing, it may be the wrong answer, so I don't want to even go close to that answer on there. So get a hold of him. You get a hold of him on Facebook. Just message him and you go ahead.
I have to go here. I have to go. So.
Oh, you gotta go to the bathroom?
No, I'm just gonna sign off here.
I want to thank you for coming on here again. I'll keep an eye on all your racing, all the videos that you post. Again, thank you, Mom and Dad, and your sister, everybody. We'll see you down the road.
Thank you for having me on, Davey.
All right, take care. Love that young man. Again, I see another Buddy Colfoyd there. All right, Ken, Cars Tour West Series on May 10th at All American Speedway. I think I'm doing something. Hang on there on May 10th. Yeah, we'll be at Cedarville, the big race there, Ken. We got a big race that night in Cedarville, California. The West Coast Pro Stocks will be there, but I would love to be there. I'm not announcing as much this year as I have been in the past, so I definitely will make a race up there to All American Speedway one of these nights, one of these Saturday nights up there, so you will see me there. And it was good seeing you. Where did I see you guys at? About a month or two ago? Was that you guys? I forgot where I saw you guys. Oh, well, glad to have you on here. Anyhow, Danica, I want to thank you for coming on. We'll see you May 10th. Mark Gardner, send that stuff. Nice shirt, but thanks. All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in on Davey's American Racing. We'll see you next Wednesday at 6 p.m. And if you'd like to be a sponsor on here, just like we have tonight from Mama's Meat Market right here in Fallon, Nevada, let me know and we will feature you. Then we get back over here to the studio. I want to thank you all for coming out. Again, if you're going to go race this weekend, go to the website, check their website, make sure they're racing, because especially in Nevada, we have no idea what the weather will be like around here in the desert. We're going to have a big storm like we were supposed to have one come in too. Last week we had big snowstorms coming in. Snowed all the way around us around the Fallon area. The pass from Nevada to California was closed because of the big storm. So make sure you check your websites. And if you are going, have a good night of racing. Everybody take care, and always God bless.